Aiesha, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am blessed. I love your hair. I've never seen it like that. It suits you very
Thank you.
well.
Trying something new.
Let's go. Oh my God, like
So
Aisha,
nice seeing you.
likewise, it is nice seeing you as well. Last time we saw each other, man, at this point was like a couple of years ago.
Like 3 years ago, I'd say by
Yeah,
now.
yeah, it's been a minute, and I
Yeah.
mean, I'm so blessed that you're here you're just a powerful speaker, and that's actually where we met. For people who don't know, we
Yeah.
actually met at a speaking event, and we were headlining a one after each other, and I'm like, yo, when you gave your speech after mine, I'm like, yo, this girl's got it, and I'm just so blessed that we have this opportunity to speak together. So yeah, for people who don't know Aiesha, she's a speaker, a model, a actress, and we're going to talk about so many things in a few seconds. And for people that don't know me, my name is Christopher. I'm a professional speaker and a peak performance coach. Aiesha, let's just jump in. I want to know, what have you been doing since the COVID time, the modeling career, the speaking career? How's that aspect affected you? What have you guys been up to with that process essentially?
So since COVID definitely hasn't been easy, especially in terms of my nonprofit organization, Born to Rise, because we the foundation of the show is having our live event where people come out and share their stories of overcoming adversity. And unfortunately, this is our second year without having the show due to COVID. So
Mhm.
it's definitely been a tough pill to swallow, um, especially during these trying times. I feel it's a message that everybody needs. Everybody needs
Mhm.
like a glimpse of hope. And the fact that I'm not able to do that has been killing me.
Let
It's been challenging for sure. And, you know, I have thought about doing it online, obviously, but it's just a whole different experience when it's
Mhm.
face to face
Mhm.
versus online. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But since then, we have been, me and my team, I just formed officially like my board members, and we are creating some type of event to be held online. So we do definitely want to create that online presence regardless, because that's where everybody's at these days.
Yeah, I mean, Aisha, like we're gonna dive into a bit more, which is like your nonprofit, which I've seen and all that stuff, and that's something I wanted to talk about. But I love the fact that you are transitioning. You're like, listen, even though, like you mentioned, that the live presence is so much more powerful. It is
Mm-hmm.
what it is. But there is still something to go get on the online aspect.
Of
There's still
course.
something to build your community and all that. And can you talk about what is your plans with that aspect? You said that there's something coming up. Is it going to be a like event? Is it going to be just like a conversation? Is it going to be like a mastermind? What are you guys looking for? And when do you potentially thinking about doing this? Do you guys have any dates coming up?
Yeah, so basically what will happen, what we're transitioning to online is to have that platform, that community, online community of uh, sharing stories. So the mission of Born to Rise is to foster that community of people rising together. So we are working on having many events. We're not sure how many. We're aiming probably for one every 2 months, where we hold a show and we speak about different various topics. So it would be on Zoom. We announce it. This is the topic. We'll have our public speakers come out, share their stories on that topic, and then have our audience participate. So that's the only pro of, not the only, but one of the pros of having it online is that it can create more conversations
Mm-hmm.
and the audience could have that outreach to our
100%.
speaker. So yeah, they'll be able to ask questions live, and we'll be able to answer them. So it'll be more personal in that sense. But nothing beats being live.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but like you did say, there's definitely some solid pros in being online. Just the fact
Yeah,
as well, like you said, the community is a bit bigger, and not only that, you can go get international communities quite
exact. Oh
easily
my
as
God,
well.
yes,
I ha
exactly.
like through this COVID time, I haven't done like so many freaking Zooms in my life that are
Mhm.
from people from all around the world, which before you would be kind of this mindset of, hey, what's in your backyard and do a meeting face
Right.
to face over here, which is beautiful. But I think that balance of both that's coming up is going to be very interesting. And there's a way that we could kind of go into that. And Aiesha, let me ask you, can you please tell us your story of like how you became a model, how you became a speaker? Because I do know a bit of your story, but I would love to hear it more, how you kind of went into that and you empowered yourself within your pain, which is something that you teach and talk about a lot.
Right, exactly. So this all stems, Born to Rise, everything that I'm doing, everything that I am today stems from my story of being diagnosed with the skin condition that I have called vitiligo. I was diagnosed at the age 18. So this is a point in my life where I was still trying to figure out my own identity, who I was as a person, all while dealing with the change of the color of my pigmentation. So it was definitely a challenging time. It started with just one small white spot on my right thumb. I had an idea as to what it was, just because my grandfather has it himself, and I had a friend that has vitiligo as well, of lighter complexion. And those are two people that did not fully accept or embrace their condition. So by that, I mean that they would cover up because they didn't want people to see it, you know? And I don't blame them, because anywhere I would look for people that had vitiligo, they were trying to cover it up. Mm-hmm. Nobody at the time, there was no Winnie Harlow, there was no, I didn't know anybody that viewed vitiligo as something that was beautiful and something that should be embraced. I always seen it as something that you should be ashamed of. So automatically when I was diagnosed, I was in denial that it actually was vitiligo. I was praying that it was, when you like cut yourself and you get a little scab,
yeah,
and then it grows back. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just a scab that I got and I don't know where I got it from. But then when it was there after a good month, I was like, shit, it's probably vitiligo. So I reached out to my friend that has vitiligo, and I was like, hey, listen, what do you think this dot is? And she looked me right in my eyes and she's like, Aiesha, you have vitiligo. Chris, I dropped to my knees and I just started bawling my eyes out, because I was like, I was only thinking about the worst. I was like, holy shit, like my life is ruined. Nobody's gonna accept me for who I am. People are gonna judge me. People are gonna make fun of me. No one's gonna want to be my friend. Who's gonna want to walk around with a girl that looks like that, And these are things that I'm not, it was thoughts that I was creating in my mind, but it was also things that was actually happening, To give you a few examples, I remember I was in Tim Hortons once, and this guy, I was there with another friend. We're eating, minding our own business, and he was at the table next to us, and he asked me, why do I leave my house looking like that? That I was cursed and I should not be out with my skin looking like this. So this is something that would happen on like a daily basis, to the point where I didn't want to leave my house anymore. I dropped out of school because taking the public transportation, I was just putting myself in a situation to be judged. So I dropped out. I would do anything to hide it. Winter became my favorite season by default because I get to wear my gloves and I get to wear a hat, things to cover up what I really looked like. So with being judged by society, it definitely put me in a negative mindset, to the point where I actually became suicidal. And it wasn't until that one day when I had that knife in my hand and I was like, this is it. I cannot live like this anymore. I'm not happy. Fortunately, I thought about my friends and my family, and I was like, okay, if I do this, my family's going to be heartbroken. They're going to be devastated. And that's what pulled me through. And then I called a friend at the same time and I was telling her what was happening. And she stayed on the phone with me until I put down the knife and I went to sleep. And the next day I pretended like nothing happened. But yeah.
Wow, Aiesha, like I don't know if the people are listening right now, but you have no idea how much my heart is filled of like love at this point when you're saying this story. And I wish like you were in front of me. I swear to God, I would just give you a huge hug, because thank you for sharing this. Thank you for being vulnerable with this. And as you're saying this, and I'm like comparing that. I know this beautiful, strong, independent woman that is in front of me talking to me, how powerful you are. And you're telling me this journey that you went through from thinking about, dropping out of school, not thinking about actually dropping out of school, thinking about suicide, so on and so forth. All I'm thinking about is what a blessing that the universe, God, put this power within you to stay here and kind of transmit this information. As you know, that vitiligo is something that's really close to my heart because my mom has vitiligo as well after she gave birth to her second kid, which is me. And my perception of it as a kid, like I never saw, like I didn't even know what it was. I just knew it was a part of my mom and it was just her charm. So I mean, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being like vulnerable with that. And let me ask you, because now you go on stage and you talk about it so openly, which helps so many people just in mental health and so many things. How did that transition happen from not accepting it, trying to hide it, legit trying to kill yourself, to now going on stages and making it, into your own words, one of your greatest powers? How did that transition happen? Was it one thing? Was it over years? Was it something you could kind of pinpoint of like, hey, after that moment, I was like, F this, this is not a problem anymore. Let me use it as a solution. Let me use it as an advocacy.
Right. So I could pinpoint the shift in my mindset was when I decided to finally speak out, because I never really, I was holding this all in. I wouldn't really talk to anybody about it. I only when like on the weekends when I'd party with my friends, and then like I would get drunk, and then like that's when like I would explode and like start crying and like just have like this cry out for help. I guess it was like just a cry out for help. But then the next day I'd completely forget about it when they would be like, hey, like what happened last night? You were saying, how unhappy you are. I'm like, wait, what? No, I don't want to talk about it. But after this situation where I was really contemplating to commit suicide, this is when I decided to reach out and to speak to somebody. And the person that I reached out to was my older brother. So my older brother, he's very spiritual. He's his mindset is all about being positive and going after what you want. He's a go-getter. So I went to his house and I was like, listen, I'm like, I'm not happy with how my life is going. I hate my job. I hate the way how I look. Like it was a pity party, basically. I was just saying like why is this happening to me? Like my life sucks. And he kind of lashed out at me. He's like tough love, my brother. And he basically said in not so nice words, he was like cussing at me. And he's like, you have vitiligo? He's like, who gives a fuck? He's like, are you dying? Are you still breathing? Da, 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 da. He's like, there's people out there dying, doesn't have food on their table, and you're here complaining about what your skin looks like? Like, he gave it to me real. And I was like, okay, you're right. He's like, he's like, you don't like what's going on in your life, so change something, do something about it instead of being here fucking complaining. Like, he friggin' went in on me, and I was like, got it. And then with that speech, he also he introduced me to The Secret, which I don't know if you know, it's all about the law of attraction. He introduced me to Tony Robbins, and literally, I was just, that's when I started to look inwards rather than outwards, because this whole time I was looking for that external validation. And then I realized how important it was to start at home, start within you. So I literally, I would watch The Secret every single day, probably 3 times a day, until I understood the law of attraction. I would tell myself I'm beautiful every day, practice of affirmations until I believed it. And that's what happened. And then once I became comfortable, it probably took probably 3 months where I became my own best friend, and I really got to know what it is that Aiesha wanted, what are my core values, So once I knew who I was, that's when I was like, okay, now what can I do? Now I can make a difference up there. And I had brought it up to my friend. I was like, you know what? I want to start sharing my story, because I know there's not a lot of people that you can turn to out there that has vitiligo and completely embraces that their imperfection. So if I can be that person to show people that it's okay to have vitiligo, to walk outside and to be confident in the skin that you're in. So that's how my speaking starts, because I wanted anyone out there to know that, hey, you can be confident in your own skin. you don't have to be ashamed of it. And then one thing led to another, where I thought, you know, this is my story, this is my journey, and people that have vitiligo could connect with this. But if I open a platform to have other people share their own story and their own jersey and their own journey, then I could tap into a lot of people and let them know that, hey, no matter what it is you're going through, you can overcome it, because this person overcame bullying. This person overcame their diagnosis with cancer. This person overcame being an alcoholic. And that's how Born to Rise was created.
Let's go. Aiesha, thank you for sharing that. And there's a couple of things I just want to highlight, as you mentioned, which was beautiful throughout your whole journey. First and foremost, props to your brother. I feel like I should connect with him. We're probably on the same wavelength. I love the fact that you had, like, the universe blessed you with that ideology next to you. So then you started understanding, which is something I want to highlight, that all solutions are within. You could look on the outside, whatever happens. That could be an argument with your spouse. That could be loss of money. That could be this, that, and the other. That could be COVID. But the reality of the matter is, everything that's happening outside is just a trigger for something that's within. So if you go within and you realize, what is my actual things, my actual insecurities, then you're looking at it and actually creating and solving the problem at the base. So then if you're walking with the confidence, even like this is something, listen, let's not kid ourselves. This is something that's extremely challenging going through with vitiligo, especially at a young age. Like you said, teenagers, nobody goes through teenage years very easily. And then you add this, but that created this beautiful diamond in the rough, right? And diamonds aren't made out of like softness. They're made out of pressure. They're made out of strength. They're made out of difficulty. And this is what you became, because listening to your story just is firing me up. And a bunch of people are saying over here, hey, I'm crying listening to this. Thank you for sharing your story. So thank you for you guys for kind of jumping onto that. And I mean, I love your brand to rise to essentially, you know, be your person and all that. And talk to me about how the modeling came about. How did that transition happen? Now we kind of got you empowering, and how did that opportunity happen? And is it something that you're able to leverage with vitiligo as well with your advocacy, or is it two different things essentially?
So it happened by fluke, honestly. I wasn't seeking out to be a model. It was somebody reached out to me on Facebook, actually. And they're like, hey, we want, there's a company that's looking for a model with vitiligo, and you're beautiful, and I think you would be great for the campaign. So I was like, okay, cool. They're like, can you come and meet us at our agency? So I went to meet them. They're like, listen, they're like, this campaign wants you, but we actually want to sign you as a model. So at this point, I was 25. I was like, 25, I'm old. Like, who models start their modeling career at 25? And then I was like, you know what? This could be another way of me getting my message out there. And this could be another, this is when Winnie Harlow was starting her career as the fashion model that she is now. But then I was like, if there's two of us, it would give people more hope to be like, holy shit, look at these girls out there not giving a fuck what they look like, and they're destroying shit. That's why I became a model. But recently, actually, just last week, I left my agency, and that's because I really wanted to focus on where my passion lies, which is getting my story out there and helping people turn their pain into power. So that's where my main focus is coaching young individuals and getting into schools, getting into conferences, and sharing my message so I can inspire, even if it's just one person, I'll inspire that one person to make a difference and to be a change maker. Yeah.
100%. And as you're saying that, man, I'm 100% want to get you into my school. I don't know if you know, I'm the president of my alumni association at Vanguard, and your story has to be in front of everybody as much as possible. So if any way that I can support to make that happen, Aiesha, we're definitely going to talk about that and make that happen. Yeah, and let's talk about this aspect of, like, how do you go about teaching somebody to make their pain into their power? Do you have like a structure behind it? Is it on making them understand, like you said, everything's within? How does that process work for you when somebody comes in front of you and has certain insecurities, has certain difficulties towards outside, inside, external, external? How would you go to approach that?
So that I've actually created something that I call my Rise framework, and that's the base of everything that I do, whether it's doing public speaking or coaching. It's what I live by. So this is what I do, how I even started coaching was me writing down everything that I have done and what's worked for me to be where I am today. And that's what I teach. So I'm not out there. I'm not saying that I'm a coach and I could, help everybody transition their mindset. And no, it would have to be somebody that is willing to put in the work, the necessary work. And it'll be somebody that, that's open-minded and wants to make that change. So for me, what Rise really stands for is the R for resilience. You need to be somebody that wants to have resilience. I is integrity, S for self-love, and E is for empathy. These are all the key tools that I use to be who I am today.
I love that. I love that you just broke down your Rise ideology from resilient to empathy. And I love the empathy's there because I do believe as a society, we're lacking some empathy.
Yeah.
And not only like in things that are going out right now, like, the whole movements, the campaigns that are going out, but only even in capitalism. Like I'm a fan of capitalism. I'm an entrepreneur through and through, but I do believe there should be more empathy as a capitalist as well. There's great ways to make money, but listen, are you doing it to the detriment of the earth? Are you doing it to the detriment of other people? Like there's a limit somewhere, and empathy is super important. So I love that you're highlighting that, and the fact that you're calling in as well the people that you want to work with that are ready to put in the work. Like this is no secret. You have to put in the work, and the work is your time, your effort, your investment of money, whatever the case is. If you want to be a high achiever, if you want to look like Aiesha on the way that she's presenting herself, she put in the work to go through that process. She read the book, she did the affirmation. So congrats with all of that. And Aiesha, I want to be respectful for your time over here. And I just want to ask you this last question. What can I do more to support you? Is there anything that I could do to help you out within your journey? Is there anything that I could support you with?
I mean, this is a great start, just giving me a platform to let people know what it is that I'm doing. Other than that, you had mentioned, that you could speak about getting me into new schools. So with everything you do, life is about connections. So who do you know that I need to know?
All right, awesome. I got that. I got you on that. We'll definitely talk about that. And like I said, we'll definitely collab in so many more things in the future. I love everything that you're doing. And like I said, I just vibed with you from the moment that I met you. And you know that Vitiligo has a place in my heart as well. And not only Vitiligo, like when I hear you, for people who don't know, I'm dyslexic. And what Aiesha is saying, I went through it in my own way. Like obviously the difference between me and you, which is a very big difference, but there's still that difference, is that when you look at me, nobody could see that I'm dyslexic. Towards yours is visible, but there is certain things that one difficulty, like learning disability, brings certain things, and to go through that whole process, because just like you, that was a point that I'm like, hey, I was repressing it, I was ignoring it, I was trying to hide it, until you really realize that, oh, wait a minute, this is a part of you, and it can be one of your strengths if you know how to utilize it and how to share it with others, and then that could be inspiring and motivating to hopefully many more. And what you're saying is full up there. So Aiesha, once again, thank you for sharing this moment. Like I said, I want to respect your time over here, but yeah, we're definitely going to collab more. And guys, please go follow her, like her stuff, comment down below. Either you guys are watching it live on the replay or on YouTube later on. And Aiesha, one last thing I'm going to ask you, leave you off with this. What would you tell a young person that has vitiligo or is going through any challenge right now that you would have loved to hear or heard when you were younger?
I think for me, it would be that nothing lasts forever, and that one bad chapter doesn't mean that the rest of your life is going to be that way. So it's just an understanding that, and an understanding that what is the root of it all, you know what I mean? That which is, it starts here. I think if I had known that when I was younger, I wouldn't have put so much emphasis on what others think about me. So yeah, that's what and then obviously like the law of attraction, and then like the way the mindset that you need to have. I didn't know that when I was younger. If I had known, I think I would have been where I am today sooner, but yeah, but I just also want to share with the ones that are listening, what I have done also is I created audio guides with affirmations and with gratitude that I can send to you if you guys want it, to just start your mornings off right with positive affirmations and with thank yous that you should that you should share, you could DM me just saying Rise, and I can send it over to you guys if you're interested.
So that is great. Is it a link? Can I put it somewhere within this conversation, or is it through
So
something
it's
direct
something
messaging?
that I would have to send by email.
Okay, beautiful.
So yeah, so just DM me Rise, and then I'll know that you want the link, and I'll send it over.
Okay, so I'll mention on the comments down below as well, like, hey, if you guys want this, please connect with Aiesha through DM and Rise, and actually send it my way as well. I would love to see what that is.
Sure.
I would love
Yeah.
to kind of go with that aspect. So Aiesha, once again, thank you very much for sharing this moment with us. Thank you for your story, and we'll definitely do so much more things together. Have a
Sounds
great one.
good. Thank you so much. Take care,
All right,
Chris. It was nice seeing
no
you.
problem.
Bye.
Bye.